Hey, how's it going? So, this is Brennan, and I will try to explain, despite a torrent of distractions that is omnipresent and so basically, the immigrant community, not the immigrants themselves, but the children of the immigrants, especially in those communities where they almost exclusively live, even someone of their same culture who grew up in the Midwest is often simply not ultimately living in those communities, and they might be troubled. Okay, certainly. Um, but those immigrant communities can create these bubbles of clarity and understanding and respect, okay, that on the frontier doesn't exist. So George Washington becomes a conspiracy, a parody of everything that's bad, that everything that's troubling the immigrant themselves might think, oh, if only those people out there would something provide a space. Indeed, I think that is pretty much the ideal that especially if someone is qualified, someone like Bobby Fischer, his space is certainly problematic because of his statistical identity being a continental with a continental semi-orthodox name, and indeed from a old world religious family, which is a curse as much as the American healthcare family, and vice versa is the opposite. You see that David Letterman and Kurt Cobain both grew up in a family with religion as part of the career profession. And they only have sisters, and they become these super entertainers. It just happens that Dave Letterman has a secret big sister, okay, worldwide pants, something like that. Ryan Hubbard, the American equation begins somewhere with the Irish names, basically. Conan O'Brien is not the same name as Bobby Fischer. Um, any other comparisons could be ultimately semi-vague, but that name thing, and certainly there is a quote-unquote Anglo-American prophecy, something that's that one. I'm not an expert on that, but this is the whole reality of what's why America exists. George Washington lives, exists. His childhood is not in the immigrant American, or the immigrant community experience. He doesn't have any immigrant connections, and so he ends up befriending crazy people, dangerous people. The rebels are essentially all desperados. Maybe they are vetted in a scapegoat fashion. That is the fear that of George Washington, of the person outside the immigrant community, that they could be dangerous, and that the immigrant will sort of inflect this in their children and say, oh yes, no, it's only people from this immigrant community. If you don't have that old world connection, what are you doing here? And a lot of people did, because they had a solid connection on the East Coast. My uncle just happened to be 13 when my grandparents moved to Florida. My dad had already gone to college because he was big brother in West America. And those people don't get the scholarships which people like the Kennedys would have benefited from ultimately. Okay, but that didn't happen. Scholarship gets confused with prescription, and American healthcare families, indeed, it's elementary, my dear. The professor's medication, Edison's medicine, becomes a wild card conspiracy of Socrates' democracy. That, well, if you just get high enough, well, you could win the election. Some cowboy conspiracy, candy tax, narcissism. These frontier people are trying to, deal with my immigrant community, this or candy community. You can do the math there. Okay, that's definitely sprinkled with complexity there. Okay, that's not supposed to be funny. Please stop. But yeah, I want Hollywood to understand that because I'm your enemy, you must contact me immediately. No, I'm your what is it, the phantom of the statistical narcissism. It's political narcissism. It is purely George Washington doesn't want to do stupid things, but that's all his only options are. Instead of having that old world guidance, mentoring, that the New World prophecy requires. There's so much fucking noise out here. I'm sorry. It's a Socrates cave, actually, where you can hear the noises in the shadows, but you can't see what's going on there. So it's expletive. That's what the noise is called, I think. And I believe it's actually smartphone apertures that the smartphone is leading us around into foolish activities and behaviors to distract other people.